My ex-wife cheated with 20-something-years-old guy when she was in her 40s. She met him on flight returning home after visiting her parents. They were seated next to each other, chatted, and exchanged the numbers. Apparently their parents belonged to same social circles, so that was connection. He was fresh graduate from our hometown headed for internship into the city where we lived. I met him at airport while picking up my wife. She said he was fine young man, and it would be nice from us to help him not feeling alone in big city. So we did. We were inviting him for a lunch or dinner over the weekends, taking him to beach with us and kids. Occasionally wife went out shopping with him or to watch movie I did not like. Few times she took him to party at some of her friends' place. I stayed home with kids and was genuinely grateful that I did not have to waste my time with people I did not like. He appeared to be withdrawn, not really talking too much. I did not think anything of it. Little that I knew they were fucking all that time, every opportunity they had. 6 months have passed. His internship was over and he went back where he has come from. I thought I would never hear from him again. What I did not know was they stayed in touch. Young guy has caught feelings and was living illusion that somehow his time will come to be with my wife again. Few years have passed. We divorced for reasons other than cheating. If you ever lived with narcissists, then you'd know why. I was not even aware of her cheating at the time. After divorce, thanks to friends, I found out the extent of it. She was master manipulator and was covering her steps well while I was naive beyond belief. I believed every word she said. The rare mistake she made, if it was mistake, was bragging to her girlfriends about benefits of having 20 years younger toy boy. One of them told me the whole story, and that is how I got to know about it. Once we divorced, guy had intensified his pursuit of my wife, probably thinking that his chance is on. She must have rejected him, and as revenge he sent mail with her nudes. No text, just nudes. Some of them were taken in our bedroom, some in our living room, and some in what I assume was his place. Some were nudes where she was obviously posing for him, and some were hardcore from his POV. I did not reply to that mail neither. I mentioned it to my wife, with whom I remained in contact because of kids. That was not the only time she cheated. Friends made sure to make me aware of her other adventures. Many of them knew about her hobby for years but kept quiet. By that time I was over her and did not really care about her escapades. Fact that she was sleeping with others behind my back has become irrelevant. What was hurting was realization that I believed I had a partner, best friend for life, and was totally unaware of reality. That feeling was humiliating. It also made me angry, more about myself than her. Could not believe how naive I was and how many obvious red flags and weak lies I missed or ignored. For years I was working day and night doing whatever needed to be done to provide for my stay-at-home wife and kids the best I could, and reward was betrayal by one I trusted the most. Anyway, that was a while ago. It took many years to clean up financial mess divorce is. Things like that is impossible to forget or forgive, at least for me. Never really healed emotionally, but learned how to live with it. The experience has changed me, and to be honest, I like my new self more than person I was. I am a lot stronger now. Kids have grown up and turned fine. They stayed close to me but not to their mother. I have remained single, could not trust to any women ever again. Friends still make sure that I am briefed about my ex-wife's current adventures. They will never know how much I don't care. It must be satisfying for them to show off their success and happiness with their own family life. They helped me to understand who my friends really are. Wife continued with her ways. Having one primary partner and sleeping around. Probably her partners knew and are okay with it. The young guy went to another city with work. I was told they do get together whenever he's in town. Then there was a talk about her being part of threesomes, then that she's bi. Turned out she's not only narcissist but nympho too. The latest I heard, not from her but her friend, that she was diagnosed with BPD. On the 40th day, I accidentally found a pack of condoms and a bunch of gift-wrapped items in his second car. My married life started with pregnancy. We were poor students, got married quickly, and lived happily. We were always together and shared all our secrets with each other. Then my husband started earning well, staying late at work, and going on business trips. I spent my time at home with the baby, first with one, then with two. I don't know exactly when our relationship deteriorated, but I know I was partly to blame. He saw connection, and I often refused. I got angry over small things and refused to reconcile until the last moment. I realized this too late, after my husband died in a car accident. On the 40th day after his death, I accidentally found a pack of condoms and many gift-wrapped items in his second car. From that day, I descended into my personal hell. I was sure he would never, ever sleep with another woman. I believed my husband with whom I grew up, went through so many hardships and joys, my closest person, would never do that to me. But he did cheat on me, and I could no longer ask him why. I spent many sleepless nights, replaying every day of the past year, trying to understand where he was, with whom, and how often. In such a short time, I managed to lose my loved one twice. At the same time, I fought for his interests during the investigation, searched for the people responsible for the accident, and proved his innocence in court, even though I hated him then. I felt like I had a stone inside my stomach, carrying a weight of hatred towards all men. Then I decided to take revenge and had several affairs. It was a disgusting time. I felt sorry for those men and sorry for myself, pretending I was okay. Eventually, I tracked down one of his mistresses and called her. She told me they had been in a relationship their entire lives, that he only loved her but stayed with me out of pity for our children. I think she said that out of spite for him or for me. He had other women, too. I found his account on a sex dating site, but I decided not to dig any further. At some point, I decided that his infidelity was my chance to cope with the loss, and I let the situation go. I focused on studying and taking care of the kids. I had no good job then, just a tiny maternity allowance, so I had to start working too. I allowed myself to fall in love again and built a new family. I didn't come out of this story whole. Even though more than 10 years have passed, I still feel emotionally scarred. Sometimes I ruin my relationship with my current husband when I get lost in memories of the past. I've been in therapy for many years, but I still haven't forgiven my first husband. The only thing I'm grateful for is that his infidelity didn't let me die of grief. She wrote that although we didn't know each other, we had something in common, my husband. For every person and every couple, there are personal boundaries that define infidelity. For some, even innocent flirting crosses the line. For others, it's physical intimacy, and years before breaking up, because things changed. Every few months, we would fight almost to the point of divorce. He would storm out, and I would quietly cry. Now, at 37, I understand that he needed these fights to justify his short-term affairs. He would disappear for 3 to 6 months, then return with flowers, gifts, tears, and remorse, claiming he couldn't live without me. Of course, I had no idea he was with other women during those times. I thought we were just trying to grow through a rough patch. During one of those breaks, I had 2 short-lived affairs myself. Both men were kind and caring, but I was already used to the emotional chaos. How could there be no drama, no devaluation, no instructions on what to do, say, or wear? Then my husband would come back, and we'd have a honeymoon phase again. In one of those periods, I got pregnant. I was 24. We were both thrilled. He stopped disappearing. He was always around, attentive, caring, and gentle. All my dreams seemed to come true at once. We lived in harmony. We had our long-awaited, beloved son, and my husband became the best dad and the best husband in the world. But it didn't last long. One day, we were having brunch at a restaurant with friends and their kids. We were laughing, making plans, and dreaming of future travels. Then my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. It was a long confession from a woman saying that, although we had never met, we had something in common, my husband. She wrote that they had been in a relationship for many years, though he had been avoiding her for the past 3. Occasionally, he would reappear in her life. According to her, he had decided to end things for good, and her pain was so immense that she wanted to send him a final goodbye through me. Saying that the ground fell out from under me would be an understatement. I held myself together, waited for our brunch to end, took my son home, put him to bed, and started a conversation with my husband. The only thing he said was, "I'm happy you finally know everything." That crushed me. I wanted him to tell me it wasn't true, that she was delusional, and that he had never cheated. But he didn't. Instead, he told me more details than I ever wanted to know. I decided not to get a divorce. I felt sorry for my son, myself, and the years we had spent together. I also thought, who would want me at 27 with a 3-year-old? I was in despair. Then, the most absurd thought imaginable crossed my mind. If we had another child, maybe everything would get better. Thanks to the divorce, I realized I'm awesome. 9 stories of divorces with a happy ending. I got pregnant that same September. The pregnancy was difficult, but my husband was by my side, carrying me in his arms, showering me with gifts, flowers, and attention. Meanwhile, I was constantly in tears if he was late, suspecting him at every turn, testing my already fragile nervous system. At the end of May, we welcomed a beautiful, healthy, and charming daughter. It felt like our home was overflowing with abundance, like our family was a perfect example of harmony. When our youngest daughter was a year and a half, we were sitting at home, looking through his phone, probably planning a vacation. Then a message popped up on the screen. "When will you finally come to love me?" I felt that familiar coldness in my heart, my body turning to stone, my soul completely collapsing. He said the message wasn't for him, that I imagined everything, and it was just a coincidence. Today, someone would explain to me that this is called gaslighting, but back in early 2016, I didn't know that word. It was easier for me to believe he was right and that I was mistaken. That summer, I went to the countryside with the kids while he stayed in the city for work. He came to visit on weekends and occasionally on weekdays. In the evenings, his phone was almost always out of service, and if I did manage to reach him, our conversations were very short. "I'm at a meeting." "With who?" "A person." "What do you mean, where?" "In the city. On the last weekend of July, we had a big gathering of friends. In the evening, I went to put the kids to bed while he stayed at the table with the guests. I could hear their conversations perfectly and kept texting him things to pass along, but I never heard him relay the messages. I thought maybe he had stepped away. When the kids were asleep, I returned to the table and saw he wasn't there. I found him standing in a quiet spot, phone in hand. I saw his chat and immediately realized he was talking to his mistress. From that evening on, I never considered him my husband again. That was the day I decided I only had myself, and I didn't want to stain my life with this filth and lies. Now that's the day my new life began.